miles to St. Anthony Falls. Alas, compared to Boston, the town was utterly disillusioning. Not much more than a smattering of rough-hewn, unpainted buildings. It made Anna wonder what to expect at the outpost settlement of Long Prairie, where she was to meet her future husband. For more than a month now, she'd had nothing more to do than watch miles of earth and water slip by and worry about what Karl Lindstrom would do when he learned of her countless deceits. Her nerves shattered, Anna wondered why she'd never thought she could get by with such a scheme in the first place. One lie would be apparent immediately. James. Never had Anna told her future husband that she had a brother for whom she felt responsible. She had no idea what the man's reaction would be when presented with an adolescent brother-in-law along with his bride-to-be. The second of Anna's lies was her age. Karl Lindstrom had stated in his advertisement that he wanted an experienced, mature woman. So Anna knew beyond a doubt that had she admitted she was only 17, Lindstrom would have known she was greener than spring corn. And so, instead, Anna had told him she was 25, the same age as Lindstrom himself. Anna figured any woman of 25 would have the practical experience a man out here needed in a frontier wife, but Lord help her when he found out different. For the first time in her life, Anna Reardon wished she had some wrinkles in her skin, some crow's feet about the eyes, maybe some fat around her waist, anything to make her look a little older than 17. He'd take one look and know the truth. And what would he say then? Take your brother and pack yourselves straight back to Boston? With what? Thought Anna. What would they do if Lindstrom left them high and dry out here in the middle of nowhere? Anna had been forced once to earn passage money. She'd had to get James to Minnesota without Lindstrom knowing, and she shuddered now at the memory, the knot in her stomach growing sickeningly fierce. Not again, she thought. Never again. She and her brother were completely at Lindstrom's mercy. It helped calm Anna's roiling stomach to wonder if Lindstrom might have told a few lies of his own. She had no guarantee he'd been truthful with her. He'd told her all this stuff about his place and his plans for the future, but what bothered her was that he'd said so little about himself. Maybe because there wasn't much to tell. He'd written endlessly about Minnesota, Apologizing for his lack of originality and his inadequate English, Karl had instead quoted newspapers, which were trying to entice immigrants and settlers to this untamed place. Minnesota is better than the plains. Here is a spot where one can live in rude but generous plenty. Here there are trees for fuel and building materials. Here, too, wild fruits grow in profusion, while game of all kinds range the forests and prairies. Lakes and streams swarm with fishes. Noble forests, fertile prairies, hills and sky-tinted lakes, and streams provide well their yields of necessity and beauty. These descriptions, Karl wrote, had reached even as far as his native Sweden, where a sudden explosion in the population had caused a land shortage. Minnesota, sounding so much like his beloved Skåne, had lured Karl with its invitation. Thus he crossed the ocean and hoped his brothers and sisters might soon follow. But neither brother nor sister nor neighbor had come to alleviate his loneliness. How idyllic it had sounded when James read to Anna all Karl said about Minnesota. But when it came to describing himself, Lindstrom was far less adept. All he'd said was that he was Swedish, with blonde hair, blue eyes, and that he was pretty big. Of his face he'd said, "I do not think it would make milk curdle." Anna and James had both laughed when he read that, and agreed that Karl Lindstrom sounded like a man with a sense of humor. Riding now toward her first meeting with him, Anna fervently hoped he did, for he'd need it sooner than he knew. In an effort to dispel her misgivings, Anna again began to wonder what Karl Lindstrom would be like. Would he be handsome? What would